Section 1. The Engineer's Apprentice. Building a Foundation. Charles Koch did not begin his journey at the top of a corporate empire. His story starts with a fundamental decision to learn. Born in Wichita, Kansas, he grew up in the shadow of his father, Fred Koch, an entrepreneur who had built a small oil refining business. Rather than simply waiting to inherit the company, Charles chose a path of deliberate preparation. He pursued a rigorous education at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, earning degrees in engineering. This was not a random choice. Engineering taught him how to analyze complex systems, break them down into their core components, and identify points of failure and opportunities for improvement. This education provided the mental models he would later apply to business. A strong educational foundation is like sharpening the axe before you begin to chop the tree. Koch spent years honing his ability to think critically and analytically. He learned the language of efficiency, optimization, and process. These skills were the true assets he brought to the family business. They were more valuable than any inheritance because they gave him the tools to create value, not just manage existing wealth. This initial phase of his life underscores the importance of building intellectual capital as the bedrock for future financial success. After completing his formal education, Koch did not immediately take a corner office. He started his career at a consulting firm, Arthur D. Little, Inc. This experience was his real-world apprenticeship. It exposed him to a variety of business problems across different industries, forcing him to apply his theoretical knowledge to practical challenges. It broadened his perspective beyond the oil industry and taught him how to diagnose organizational weaknesses quickly. He was, in effect, collecting a library of business case studies. The lesson here is about gaining diverse experiences to build a robust problem-solving toolkit before committing to a single path. This early period of preparation set the stage for everything that followed. Koch returned to his father's company in 1961, not as an heir, but as an engineer with a clear framework for thinking about systems. He had already established a habit of continuous learning and a preference for analytical rigor. He understood that success was not the result of a single brilliant idea, but the outcome of a well-designed process. This mindset, forged in the classrooms of MIT and the offices of a consulting firm, would become the cornerstone of his entire career. Section 2. A New Blueprint. Taking control and setting a vision. When Charles Koch joined his father's company, it was a respectable, mid-sized engineering and oil firm. It was not the global behemoth it is today. His father, Fred Koch, was a talented inventor, but had a different management style. Upon his father's death in 1967, Charles became chairman and CEO. This was the moment the company's trajectory began to shift dramatically. He did not simply step in to maintain the status quo. Instead, he saw an opportunity to implement a completely new operating system. He envisioned a company that ran on principles, not personalities. He envisioned a company that ran on data, not intuition alone. This marked the beginning of his great experiment in business. The core of his new blueprint was a philosophy he would later name market-based management, MBM. The idea was deceptively simple: structure a private company to mimic the dynamics of a free market. Ideas competed on their merits. Employees were empowered to act like entrepreneurs. Value creation was the ultimate measure of success. He began by breaking down hierarchies and encouraging open debate. He wanted the best ideas to win, regardless of who they came from. This fundamental shift was not just a management tactic, it was a cultural overhaul. Section 3. The Growth Engine. Market-based management in action. With his market-based management philosophy as the company's operating system, Charles Koch turned his attention to growth. His strategy was not to chase fleeting trends or make speculative gambles. Instead, he applied a methodical, almost scientific approach to expansion. The core principle was to acquire and improve businesses where Koch Industries could apply its unique capabilities to create superior value. He looked for assets underperforming or overlooked by others, confident his management system could unlock hidden potential. This was not about buying and flipping companies. It was about buying and building them for the long haul. One of the most significant early moves was the 1981 acquisition of a refinery from Sun Company in Corpus Christi, Texas. Many experts considered the refinery a marginal asset at the time. However, Koch and his team saw an opportunity. They believed their expertise in process optimization and in efficient operations could dramatically improve profitability. They applied their MBM principles, empowering the local workforce to identify inefficiencies and to eliminate inefficiencies. Section 4. Compounding knowledge, the strategy of reinvestment. One of the most critical elements of Charles Koch's success is his commitment to reinvestment. While many companies pay dividends, Koch retained and reinvested about 90% of earnings. This decision explains the company's colossal scale. Instead of taking money off the table, profits were used as fuel for growth. This created a compounding effect. Each year's earnings grew the base for future profits. It's not just about reinvesting money, it's also about reinvesting knowledge. Every acquisition, every new project, every operational improvement, all treated as learning opportunities. Lessons from turning around a refinery in Texas were adapted and applied to a paper mill in Georgia. This created a virtuous cycle. Reinvested capital funded new ventures. These ventures generated new knowledge. That knowledge made future investments more effective. Section 5. Building an empire. Diversification and long-term bets. As Koch Industries grew, its strategy evolved, from optimizing single assets to building a resilient, diversified portfolio. Charles Koch understood. Concentrating all his resources in the volatile oil and gas industry was a significant risk. To mitigate this, he guided the company on a deliberate path of diversification. This was not a haphazard collection of unrelated businesses. Instead, it was a strategic expansion into adjacent and complementary industries: manufacturing, logistics, trading. The company's portfolio today is a testament to this strategy. Koch Industries has major holdings in agriculture, advanced materials, Georgia Pacific, Brawny paper towels, Dixie cups, Invista, polymers, fibers, carpets, clothing, cattle ranching, fertilizer production, financial trading. This wide net of businesses provides stability. When one sector, like energy, is experiencing a downturn, another, like consumer goods, might be thriving. This structure ensures a steady flow of cash and insulates the company from the boom and bust cycles of any single market. A key lesson from this diversification strategy is the importance of building a platform of capabilities. Koch Industries did not just buy companies. It acquired businesses that could benefit from its existing platform of operational excellence, supply chain management, risk analysis. For example, its deep knowledge of commodity trading, honed in the oil markets, gave it an advantage when it expanded into trading other raw materials. This approach ensures that diversification is not just about spreading risk, but about creating synergy. Each new business both benefits from and contributes to the strength of the whole, making the entire enterprise more valuable than the sum of its parts. This long-term strategic approach to building a portfolio is directly applicable to personal finance. It is the principle behind a diversified investment portfolio, where you own a mix of assets like stocks, bonds, real estate. The goal is to avoid having all your financial eggs in one basket. It is constructed brick by brick through the careful acquisition and cultivation of a diverse set of income-producing assets, all managed with a consistent and disciplined philosophy. Section 6. The measure of a man: wealth, influence, and public scrutiny. The result of decades of disciplined reinvestment and strategic growth is a level of financial success that is difficult to comprehend. Koch Industries is one of the largest private companies in the United States, with annual revenues that rival those of well-known public giants. As the primary shareholder, Charles Koch has accumulated a personal fortune that places him among the wealthiest individuals in the world. This wealth is not idle. It is a direct reflection of the value embodied in the vast and productive network of businesses he has spent his life building. This immense wealth has naturally led to significant influence. Charles Koch and his late brother David became prominent figures in American public life, primarily through their financial support of various political and philanthropic causes. They established a network of non-profit organizations to promote their free market, limited government principles. Their ability to fund research, support candidates, and shape public opinion. However, this influence has not come without a cost. The Koch's political activities have made them polarizing figures, subject to intense public scrutiny and criticism. Opponents have accused them of using their wealth to advance a political agenda that benefits their business interests, particularly in the fossil fuel industry. They have become symbols in the debate over the role of money in politics. This aspect of his life offers a sober lesson. Massive success and a public profile often attract both admiration and animosity. Stepping onto the public stage means being prepared for the full spectrum of reactions, from praise to condemnation. Ultimately, the controversy surrounding Charles Koch highlights a fundamental truth about wealth and power. Financial success on such a grand scale is rarely a purely private affair. It inevitably intersects with the broader society, creating an impact that extends far beyond a company's balance sheet. For anyone aspiring to build significant wealth, it is a reminder to consider the responsibilities and consequences that come with it. The journey from a small engineering firm in Wichita to a global empire shows that financial metrics are only one way to measure a life. The public legacy one leaves is another, shaped by the choices made once financial security is achieved. Section 7. The Koch Method. Actionable Lessons for Personal Finance. Charles Koch's journey from an engineer in Wichita to a billionaire industrialist offers a clear and repeatable blueprint for building wealth. His methods are not based on secrets or shortcuts. They are timeless principles you can apply to personal finance and career development. The first and most fundamental lesson is to begin with knowledge. Read books. Take courses. Learn the fundamentals of the field you are in. Your ability to think critically and solve problems is your most valuable asset. The second lesson is to adopt a systematic approach. Koch built a system, market-based management, and applied it relentlessly. Automate your savings and investments. Create a simple budget to track where your money goes. Establish rules for making financial decisions, a checklist to review before a large purchase. A good system removes emotion and makes positive outcomes the default. The third and perhaps most powerful lesson is the magic of compounding through reinvestment. Reinvest dividends. When you get a raise, increase your automatic savings rate. When your side hustle makes a profit, put that money back into growing the business or into your investment account.